In this video, we're going to be making the most over-engineered and designed name sign that you could possibly make for the wall of a nursery. It's going to involve plasma cutting, welding, sandblasting and more, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be working on the sign at the UKT 360 Group workshops in Cheshire. The business was founded by my auntie and uncle, and I'll be making the sign with my cousin David, who is the design and installation director. They make vehicle turntables, so should be able to handle making a little sign for a wall. I had the idea to make a sign for the wall, and I asked David if he fancied working on it with me. I don't have much, if any, experience in metalworking, so it was something that I wanted to try. We worked on a rough design and then David expanded the concept. You'll see the design as this video goes on. The sign's going to be made up of 2 layers of 3mm steel, which David cut out using the plasma CNC. This is such a great bit of kit, not something I would ever usually get to use. I don't think I'd quite be able to squeeze it into my little workshop. I'm going to keep saying we in this video, but to be honest, David did the majority of the metalworking and I was the apprentice for the day. Next up, we bent some strips of steel that will make up the side walls of the sign. These were then welded onto the circular steel to make up the 2 main pieces of the sign. The concept here is that the back of the sign will be securely fixed onto the wall, and then the front face will slot over the top and bolt to the back face to hold this on. The welds got grinded back just to make sure that the 2 pieces didn't interfere with each other later on. I did get the chance to try out some welding myself, which I thoroughly enjoyed, thanks to a very quick crash course from David. Definitely something I'll be doing more of in future. The 2 faces were clamped together and then the holes for the bolts were drilled through both layers of steel. This was to make sure that they both aligned when they were fitted together. A nut was then welded on the inner layer so that the bolt could be fixed in from the outside and into this. We then welded a couple of extra pieces of steel that will allow us to run an LED strip around the inside face without it clashing with the nut or the bolt. Next, I cleaned the steel up by sandblasting it. Originally, I was going to leave it as the rough steel, as it had some nice patina to it, but where the edge band had been welded on was visible due to the heat. So I thought blasting it back and refinishing it would be a better idea. Then it was time to head back home to finish things off. Massive thanks to David for all of his help with this project, as well as Nigel and Nikki for letting me use their workshop. My sister-in-law Danielle specifically asked me how much this sign weighed, so here you are Danielle, it weighs in at a pretty heavy 6.7 kilos. The sign was finished with a clear lacquer to deepen the colour and prevent it from marking over time. Whilst I was waiting for that to dry, I could go and get the inside of the sign ready. I'll explain what the extra hole and the line is for when I fit it to the wall. I'm running an LED strip around the inside band to light up the name cutout, so I prepped the steel by cleaning it with some alcohol to make sure that the adhesive strip stuck properly. I also added some strategically placed super glue to the top just in case it started to drop over time. Thankfully, if it does, or if the strip needs replacing, I can just remove the front face and then do any repairs or changes. I stuck a frosted piece of acrylic to the inside of the front face once the lacquer was dry to help diffuse the light and stop you being able to see inside the sign. Whilst the glue dried, I could go upstairs and get the back plate fixed to the wall. I drilled 8mm holes for hammer fixings, which will hold the sign onto the wall. What I forgot to show you is the line on the back of the inner plate. This was a level reference mark, so I used a spirit level on this line to hold the sign to the wall and then mark the holes for drilling. I also used this when fixing to the wall to ensure it was bang on level. I wasn't lying when I said it was over-engineered. You may have noticed whilst I was fixing the sign to the wall that the larger hole on the back was for the LED cable to pass through. I sent David the measurements and the spacing of the wall slats so that he could design this hole to line up with a gap rather than one of the slats. The final step was to fit the front face onto the back face and then bolt the two pieces together. I'm wearing gloves here because this is a freshly sprayed finish and I didn't want to put any fingerprint marks all over it as I handled it. After all of David's precision planning, designing and fabricating, I thought this was the least that I could do. The final thing I did was tape the cable into place with some black tape to hide this in the feature wall gaps, and then we're all done. I'm really happy with how this turned out. The steel looks great in this room and the design means that it sits off the wall, giving it a three-dimensional look. The LED lights work really well to light a name up. This has been such a fun project to work on with David and I've learnt a lot along the way, which is even better, so thanks again to him. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel for more and I'll see you in the next one.